Welcome back. You're watching the CEO Sentimeter. We're in conversation with CII Sanjiv Bajaj, trying to gauge the pulse of India Inc. Let me ask you about one of the big issues that was thrown up during the course of the budget, and that had to do with the insurance sector. And I know that there's been intense conversation and dialogue with the industry and the government on getting the government to change its mind as far as the insurance policy threshold was concerned from a tax perspective. Any luck? Do you have any clarity on whether the government is willing to consider the changes that the industry is proposing?
So, as you know, Shireen, I'm a biased party here, so I won't talk about my own view, but talk about more the CII view, and which is that very clearly CII is not asking for any particular benefit, especially for the upper income segments. But all that we are suggesting is that any such instrument which is long-term investment in nature should be also taxed as long-term. And there are discussions, I believe, going on at this point of time, and we hope that it leads to a conclusion which benefits the country as well as makes sense for the economy.
Yeah, well, you know, this is the month where the finance bill is going to be passed. So if at all there's any change, it will have to come in before the bill is passed. And as you pointed out, the dialogue is currently underway between industry and the government. But, you know, you talked about India. And while there is consensus that this is an opportunity and a compelling time for India and for Indian industry, a lot of foreign investors are looking at India. And, of course, domestic industry is also looking at growth and demand at this point in time. In light of what has happened with the Adani group, and I'm not trying to suggest that that is indicative of the strength or the lack of the strength as far as the Indian economy is concerned, but what could be the possible implications, at least in the short to medium term, of that event?
I believe that this is an individual incident. Like an economy overheats at times, a particular set of businesses could overheat as well, and they require immediate remedial action. I believe that is well underway from what one reads in the paper. I would not worry about this from an overall India impact, but I do believe that India has tremendous opportunity. It has its own set of challenges, and this requires concerted discussion, action for all constituents, not just domestic but international ones as well, governments, policymakers, experts. And that's why we are in the middle of this partnership summit of CII, which I believe is a great platform to bring thought leaders from around the world and different sectors together to discuss all kinds of issues, including such ones where you could have some negative actions or impacts that get taken, whether it's what you talked about with respect to the particular business group, whether it is with respect to the particular bank in the US. Once in a while such things happen, but they require quick remedial action.
You talked about conversations that are currently underway at the Partnership Summit, and I wanted to understand what is the appetite of Indian business houses, of Indian business groups and business leaders at this point in time to actually look at opportunities globally. Is this a buyer's market? Are people looking at expanding globally at this point in time, or is it wait and watch?
Very much, not just at this point of time, but over the last decade or so, a number of Indian businesses are executing their global aspirations. And this is all size of businesses. Look at some of the startups. Some of the startups are already in multi-geographies, not just in India. And that's true across many sectors. When you look at auto components, when you're looking at electronics now, when you're looking, for example, at pharma, at chemicals, and the opportunity is there for many more sectors as well. So we are very much in the midst of this. COVID could have caused a pause for a few years, and we are seeing India Inc. come out even stronger and ready with its global aspirations.
Speaking of aspirations, at this point in time, what is the confidence level across India, especially in terms of hiring additionally?
Jobs is something which is always going to be very key, and we went through a period last year where we saw significant shortage on the tech side. That has got partly balanced right now. we are going through a phase where India is opening up to becoming that manufacturing and services hub for the world, which means we have to make sure that we have the right skilled jobs ready. We have to make sure that they are competitive and efficient, and we have to make sure that we organize our industry and our rules and regulations such that we can maximize on this. We are starting to see hiring across a few sectors, and based on further demand growth, you should see that happening even more.
So what's the key ask at this point in time from government, Sanjiv Bajaj, to capitalize on the momentum that we're currently in the midst of?
I would say two key asks. One very clearly from the regulator, from the banking regulator, is decouple, pause interest rates. Let's stay nimble. The current situation clearly looks like inflation has moderated, so let's focus on growth. And as far as the government is concerned, they've done a lot, but continue focusing on ease of doing business and reducing cost of doing business. The rest India Inc. will do.
And as the rest India Inc. will do, and that has been government's hope as well, that India Inc. will step up to the challenge and start to invest as well. And I know that that's been something that the finance minister has been bringing up repeatedly with industry. But, I want to go back to the issues of introspection that you raised as well. And I think there's been a lot of focus in light of the developments that have taken place on things like related party transactions and, more importantly, related party transaction disclosures. What is the dialogue within industry at this point in time on dealing with some of these issues?
See, very clearly, if we are going to become the manufacturing and services base for the world, we need to ensure that a high level of governance, transparency remains in what we do. But it's equally important that we create, keeping in mind what's happening globally, but we create a set of policies that make sense for us as a country, and we make sure that we have enough discussion and debate on them, and then open up a window in which we implement them. And you're talking on related party disclosures. Look at what's going to happen with respect to ESG compliance. That's throwing up a whole set of new challenges and opportunities as well. Look at on green financing. That's going to come with its own set of conditions. And our biggest challenge is going to be not with the large corporates, but how do we take all these and build the right capabilities, understanding with small and mid-sized businesses, which account for most of our economy. And the earlier we do it in an institutionalized, systematic manner, the more it will make sure that India Inc. gets aligned to meeting global challenges and opportunities.
Well, Sanjiv Bajaj, plenty of global challenges at this point in time, and plenty of opportunities as well for India Inc. to focus on. In your words, India Inc. is ready to step up to the challenge. The government has done its part. It is now time for business to do its bit. Always a pleasure. Appreciate you joining us here on the CEO Sentimeter on CNBC-TV18. Thanks very much. That's it then on this edition of the CEO Sentimeter. From all of us here, goodbye. Thanks for watching.